Some time ago I learned about a concept which I personally find quite interesting, especially including the fact that I'm more about objective point of view and less about subjective point of view in terms of our understanding of life and understanding of history. And the topic that I want to talk with you about today is anachronism. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Anyways, anachronism, what is it? Why I think it is applicable in our modern times for our modern society? More about that in today's video. But obviously, before we begin, I have to tell you that this is Yury Experience, and here I share my various experiences about different topics. I currently do one video per week, Mondays, and if you like this video, please drop a like. You can also subscribe to the channel. You can also obviously leave a comment. For example, your example of your personal life with anachronism, where you catch yourself thinking in a specific way. Let's begin. Obviously, we start with the definition. Here's an official definition, and with my own words, anachronism is when we have an object or something in one moment of time where it actually doesn't belong to historically. We normally find examples of it in literature, in art, in maybe different paintings, where, for example, we see something that doesn't belong there from time perspective. A good example of it, Flintstones. I think you know this cartoon. It is a cartoon about cave people who lived during prehistoric times, and whom we also see there are dinosaurs. You maybe know it from history lessons. Human beings, or prehistory human beings, didn't live during the same time as dinosaurs did. So basically the existence of dinosaurs in this world of humans is anachronism, because dinosaurs shouldn't exist during that time period there. Anachronism can also work for the future. For example, there are a lot of writers who wrote different things during Soviet Union times, and in their writings they wrote it as if Soviet Union still exists, and they were talking about future. And since Soviet Union didn't exist after 1991, every kind of prediction, any kind of futuristic writing which has Soviet Union in it is kinda wrong, because it didn't happen. Soviet Union destroyed itself, which is why it can be considered anachronism. But also there are different way of thinking about that. It is we came just in a different future, in alternative reality. In another reality, Soviet Union still exists during our modern times. But in our reality, it is just not like that. What I want to talk about is not anachronism in arts, it's anachronism in morals. Because the same principle can be applied to morals, to our moral values that we have now and have prior to now. Anachronism in terms of morals is applying morals of one time period to a different time period. For example, applying morals from modern days to, for example, society of 1100 after birth of Christ, or however, after Christ is born. One of the things. The specific case of anachronism is called presentism. It is when we are using morals of right now to judge basically situations of the past or maybe of the future. Presentism is obviously also applicable to arts. It is basically if you would see really old painting with a person who is looking something at their iPhone, it is basically presentism, because iPhones is something from our modern era, but we are putting it in the wrong context, in the wrong history context. First, we will be talking about anachronism of the past. And it is when we are, as I already mentioned, apply morals of now to the past situations. And it is, for example, when we are talking about slavery from our modern point of view. In a lot of societies, in a lot of countries, slavery is currently considered something bad. It's not something that we want to do, it's not something that we want to keep in the future. But it would be not completely fair to say all slave owners from the past were bad people just because they participated in something that we currently find bad from moral standpoint. The morality of the past was different. It was normal in some situations, in some countries, during some time periods, to have slaves. Not only to have hundreds of them, to have one slave that only works for you. It's basically as a worker who can go away, which you bought as an object. It's a bad comparison, but it is a comparison. It is similarly as having a cat or a dog, like basically having a pet animal. It is a living being that you basically bought if you have enough money to like live with it, to provide food for it, for this living being. But this living being can't really run away from you completely freely. You are keeping check of it. Similarly, as we see pets right now, some people at least, saw slaves during that different periods of time. That is why the statement that slavery is bad is completely true for now, but it wasn't something for the past. It was something normal in the past, something that everybody did basically. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people did. Another example, child labor. It is also something that we consider bad, at least nowadays. We don't want societies to have child labor. But during big parts of human history, it was completely normal. It was normal for like a child to go to factory or to go coal mining and do like really hard job, which we currently only consider to be done by adults. Again, is child labor nowadays something bad and we want to do our best to like get rid of it? Yes, completely. But do we want to call all the factories that used child labor in times prior to now, where child labor was normal, do we want to call all of them evil? I'm not completely sure whether it is fair. And that is basically this moral anachronism, where we apply morals of something from now to the past. And not all the scientists find it to be good. A lot of people find it to be a moral fallacy, because it is not fair to compare modern times, our modern possibilities, solutions, rights and whatnot to the situations of the past. It is something that we find, that these people find to be too subjective. That is why a lot of historians prefer to write stuff like factually. They don't write their opinions about something, they write it down factually. It happened and afterwards it happened and that also happened. But not that was very bad and that is why that happened and that was even worse and it is completely disgusting. A lot of specialists try to avoid adding this subjective spice to the case. Because again, it's not subjectivity is something that is personal, and something that you view in one way may be different to how something is viewed by another person. And it can be that our morals now say that something is bad or something is good that was done in the past, but like in 50 years it will be completely different. But due to the fact that we wrote stuff down in this subjective way, we don't provide like how it was actually, and the generations after us will not be able to really comprehend how was it actually, because they will not have any objective points of views. They will only have subjective ones. Other specialists say that we need this anachronism. We need to compare morals of the past with morals of the current times when we are thinking about situations of the past. One of the reasons for that is that our modern comprehension of different morals was present in the other times. It wasn't spread, it wasn't something normal, it wasn't everywhere, but it was there. Good example with slavery, there were anti-slave groups in different societies, in different countries. There were people who was fighting slavery during the times of slavery being normal. That creates a question, is the presence of some opposing minority enough to apply this opposing point of view to everybody? Because then we can use morality from now when we are looking at the past. Because there were some views that are normal now in the past. So it is okay to apply these points of views, even though they were just minority in the past. Another opposing point of view is morals didn't really change. Traditions did, normality did. But morals didn't change. Morals were created at some point and they didn't really change over time, which is why we can apply morals from now to the past. Because our understanding of what is normal changed, but not what is right, basically. Another interesting concept is using anachronism for the future. Will people from the future look at us with their moral norms and think that we are disgusting. And now we are talking about philosophy. Because at the end of the day, we don't know where exactly which society will develop itself, what cultural norms will become normal, what cultural norms will go away. And depending on that, our morals can and will change. Great example of something that may become disgusting for future generations when they will be looking at us is, for example, consuming of animal products. Or maybe how we deal with people from LGBTQ community, gay rights, different queer rights, how we deal with all of that. Maybe in the future that will not be even the question. And we don't know it. We don't know for sure how the development of society will be. Maybe it will come to the point where we will not consume animal products anymore. Maybe we'll find another way to consume food, or maybe not. Maybe it will be the question for generations and will just remain like that. And it is something that we are not sure about, that a lot of people are thinking about, like how will future generations think about me? But we are not sure about that. In the conclusion, I will say my opinion about anachronism and this way of thinking. And in my personal opinion, we shall be extremely careful when we are applying morals of modern times to past times. I do think that we shall learn from it. I do think that we shall not forget it, but I don't think it is completely fair to judge everybody from the past based on our modern time morals. I think even that it is a little bit but lazy way of thinking. Another reason why we shall be careful with this type of judging is based on our modern moral norms, not everybody is good right now. So obviously a hell lot of people will be bad in the past. You can even try to say that everybody from the past was a bad person based on our current moral norms, and you will probably win this case. Because it is a little bit impossible for everybody in the past being good, because their morals were just completely different. And speaking about the future, about what will next generation think about us, do your best. Basically, it is a great thing to try to guess what people will think in the future, but we cannot really guess it. We don't know how societies will change. We even can make some steps back in the future. We will remove some of the moral norms that we have right now that we consider needed in the future because of some reasons, because of various reasons that can happen in the future. So in my personal opinion, just doing your best is the best thing that we can do. We don't know how the future will be. We don't even know normally how tomorrow will be. So trying to predict it, I'm not completely sure whether it is a smart idea. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it. If it is the case, please drop a like. You can also leave a comment. You can also leave a like. You can also subscribe. Yeah. Have a great week. I see you next Monday.